Hi there, Jillian from Gulf Coast Canine, and I just want to take this opportunity to give a little coaching about proper ways to hold your leash. I see a lot of clients that come in here, and even just average dog walkers, people enjoying their dog out in public, and I see so many ways that people handle their leash that isn't exactly the best, could potentially be dangerous and just harmful either for themselves or for their dog. So I think that this little piece of information can really help go a long way. So when owners come in for their first lesson, whether it is in a private lesson or after the first week of their board and train, we talk about proper leash handling mechanics. And it really is important, and it makes a huge difference to how you can communicate with your dog, especially when you're out in a busy or chaotic kind of environment. And obviously we'll talk about having your dog being engaged with you to help with some of the leash pulling and management. But this is just proper leash holding mechanics. And so we can have either a two-handed grip on the leash or use a single hand so that it frees up our opposite hand for either food or things like that to be able to reward our dog. So if we're talking about a regular two-handed grip, I have my leash here, a regular two-handed grip, I always have my dog walk on my left side. So my dogs are all trained to walk on my left. I do use right-handed heeling or walking, but in a different kind of context. So in my right hand, I take the loop of the leash and I put it over my thumb and I close my hand. So this, physics says, is a nice strong grip. And the reason being is that it actually pins that leash into our thumb. So if our dog were to pull, it's literally just pulling the leash closer into my hand, and my hand causes an anchor. So this is our anchor hand, as I like to refer to it. And typically when I'm walking, I anchor it right kind of center of my chest. And so this particular anchor, wheel myself backwards a little, this particular anchor causes a nice solid grip. So if you have a really big, strong dog or one that really likes to pull, this is going to help anchor you and your dog. Now, let's say your dog is pulling so hard and it's, for whatever reason, you have to let go of the leash because it's a safety thing. Either you're gonna fall or your dog is gonna pull you out into traffic. I've heard a lot of these crazy stories, right? So all we have to do is open our hand and then that leash can be taken out of our hand by our dog. So many times I see people do this, and then this, and then this. Now let's say we have that same 50, 60, 100-pound dog that sees a squirrel and tries to pull us across the road. Well, there's no way to let go of this leash quickly or easily. So that is you going face first into the pavement, getting drugged behind your dog, potentially into the road. Again, I've seen crazy things happen while I'm out walking and training dogs. So your dog is faster than you, promise. If you do this, that is a nice solid handle on the leash. And then if you do have to let go of the leash for whatever reason, your dog will make it across the road. They won't make it across the road if you are anchoring them face first into the pavement. So we're gonna go with this, thumb through the loop, and then you're gonna close your hand around that loop of the leash. Now your left hand, or the hand that you are most dominant with, you are just gonna handle the rest of the leash, right? The part of the leash that goes down to the dog, your leash clasp. You're just gonna put that second hand on the leash, kind of like you're riding a bicycle. So the part of the leash that goes down to your dog, so there's your dog, should always come out of the back of your hand. And that just allows for good mechanics and communication. When I work with owners and we talk about training collars and engagement and getting our dog to walk at our side, at our pace in a nice heel position while being generally focused on the handler, we always want the part of the leash that goes down to the dog to come from the back of our hand. And that is because just the way that mechanics works, when I swing my arm, the part of the leash that goes down to my dog swings naturally backwards. And so that just allows us good handling mechanics. It's not gonna rip your shoulder out of the socket. It's not gonna dislocate anything. Again, so many times I see people do one of these, where the part of the leash that is connected to our dog comes from our palm or our thumb. And then we start pulling like we're starting a lawnmower. I can guarantee you, you are going to hurt your shoulder and your neck, especially if you have a fairly large dog. So, loop of the leash around our thumb, close it, and anchor it right here at our sternum. And that again is gonna have a nice solid handle on our dog. And then the part of the leash that goes down to our dog comes from the back of our hand. And then obviously I have a nice long 6-foot leash, so I just kind of take some of the excess, again, still thumb through the loop. I take the excess and I just double it over in my anchor hand so that then the mechanics work a lot nicer, and it's not gonna hurt. Now, if we wanted to have a single grip on the leash, meaning we're just walking with the leash in one hand, maybe we don't have a super giant dog, and so we don't need to have an anchor. So we're still gonna do the same thing, except the side that our dog primarily walks on, we're gonna put the loop of the leash around that thumb, and then we're gonna double over our leash into that thumb, and then we're gonna wrap our hand around the leash. So the part of the leash that goes down to our dog is still coming from the back of our hand. And now we can just walk along with our dog, have proper mechanics, we can swing our arm, and it just works so much better. So this is how we can safely handle our leash while our dog is connected, and under the premise that maybe our dog isn't super well trained or can be a little crazy on the leash, maybe pulls at times. So utilizing our anchor position with our right hand and then having the part of the leash that goes down to the dog coming from the back of our left hand, we have a nice solid anchor position. Again, we have maybe a dog that's kind of nice on the leash, fairly soft, generally walks, in on one side of us, then we can go ahead and just do a one-handed grip. Again, thumb through the loop, double it over to pick up the excess, and we're gonna close our hand around that so that then the part of the leash that goes down to our dog, again, they don't have a ton of leash to just be able to wing-ding around us and, be all kinds of everywhere and crazy. So this is how I coach owners to hold their leash. And it does, believe it or not, make a huge, huge difference. So give it a go. I hope it helps, especially for those of you that, maybe have a little bit of a nut job on your hands, but I promise it will work and it will help. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for a little bit more. And if you really want to get a handle on your dog's walking and having a nicer heel position, having calmer walks, check out our subscriptions, because I have a whole bunch of content in there that talks about engagement, leash handling, leash walking, and how to get just nicer manners so that both you and your dog can enjoy going on walks. Thanks for tuning in, and keep training your dog.